Hello, it's Becky from Ivy's Corner. I'm just joining you today for a little mini mono tangle, which is going to be the tangle Indyrella, which is a favourite of mine. It's a lovely texture tangle. I have here in front of me a micron pen, a Zentangle pencil, a tortillon, and a small 2-inch square tile. It's not an official bijou tile, it is one I've cut myself because I had some spare watercolour paper. It's quite a textured surface, this one, which is fine. Not necessarily what you would normally use for an official Zentangle tile, but it will work perfectly for our purposes today. So for Indyrella, I'm going to begin, as I usually do, just by drawing some dots and a border on my little tile here. So 4 dots, 1 in each corner, and I'm just going to join them lightly together in pencil, so that we can have a little space in which to place our tangle. It gives us some kind of an elegance of limits, as it were. That's how they describe it in Zentangle HQ. So drawing our little lines there so we have space to place our pattern in. Now Indyrella is a really lovely tangle, and I just really like the way it looks when you shade it up. It's a texture tangle, so it's quite a lot of lines and detail, and a lovely one to sort of place in the background or something if you've created something with a bit more focal point. So yes, let's have a look at how it comes together. So to start with, Indyrella, there's just lots of auras, I suppose, in this tangle. But we're going to start off, I'm going to start down in the centre here. Yes, I'm going to start down in the corner, not the centre. So I'm going to do a nice big inked in dot like this. And then I'm just going to add like a backwards C shape around that. And I'm going to just keep repeating these little auras and sort of just see where my pen takes me. So I'm not filling the entire space here. I'm just adding these corners, these C shapes as an aura, getting larger, and then eventually starting to get a little bit smaller. I'm following this line along the side. Didn't really intend to do that necessarily. I just sort of see where my pen takes me with this tangle, and then just getting smaller till it finishes. That is the first part of Indyrella. I'm going to just then repeat this little pattern. So I'm going to do another bold dot like this, and then just some more C shapes. And the beauty of this one is that it can fill any space that you have available to you. Obviously at the moment we're not constrained, we have a whole tile to fill. But just repeating these curved lines, and you can create these little, I sort of think they look like little insects. You can create these little Indyrella things just to fit into whatever space you have available to you. So this one here is going to fill that space, but it's going to come around a bit more back along this line apparently. I do like to sort of just let it go where it wants to go, like so. I'm going to try and do a slightly bigger one, so I'm going to start in this little space here and just add. I want to make them fairly big. So not being afraid to have nice big curved shapes here. And you know your curved shapes don't have to be all exactly the same distance apart, but if they're sort of roughly the same, that's good. See, I'm running out of space up to my line here, so I'm going to make them slightly smaller and come up here. And then the next one, I can fit one in here. So just lots of C shapes, or backward C shapes, I suppose. And you can make them closer together at the top if they want to turn a corner, and further apart at the bottom. So that's sort of squishing itself into that space. Let's do one up here. So starting with a dot and then curving. I'm actually going to turn my tile to make this one easier for myself. And I think this fellow is going to just follow its little friend here and then curve up to the top corner. So it's like such a simple tangle, this one, but I just think it looks really effective because what we're doing is we're ensuring we're keeping a little bit of white space in between each of these little creatures. And I just think it looks, I mean, it looks particularly cool when it's shaded, so we'll see that in a second, but I really like this one. It's one of my favourites from when I first started tangling. So I'm going to bring this fellow along here, this little guy. I can probably fit maybe 2 little ones up here. So this one can come up here. And as you can see, obviously I start small and then I get bigger with my C shapes, and then I get smaller again. And I'm going to just pop a little orb in here because why not? And then here, following the space that we have available and sort of just squishing it in so it fits. And I always just sort of feel like they were always meant to be in that space. It's funny. There we go. And I just, sometimes I like to finish with just a couple of dots at the end rather than just finishing with a C shape. I think we'll have one more fitting in here, and then I might see if there's anywhere else I could fit some more orbs, because that orb at the top there does look a little bit lonely. There we go. Maybe an orb down here and down here. There we go. In fact, I might just add a little border of orbs. I feel like that might look quite nice. A few little clusters here and there. There we go. So that's our line work done. Pretty speedy. And what I like to do with Indyrella is, I know that in general we don't think about a light source with Zentangle, but sometimes it's quite nice to just make sure that you keep your shading sort of in a pattern, I suppose. And so with Indyrella, I like to kind of imagine that the light is coming from one direction and then shade the opposite direction to that. So if the light was coming from here, from this direction here, I would shade the side that was furthest away from that light source. So I'm going to just add some pencil here and keep it to the edge of my little creature, or a bug, or whatever it looks like. And then on the same side of each one, just add a pencil line. And I'm just being careful. I'm going to turn this out so I can be more precise where I want to make sure I don't end up going past, because what I want to do is retain a little bit of white space in between each of them. And some of them you'll find that you're not really sure which side to put it on. You know, if you've gone here, I've gone for this side of each of them. But some of them, when they start to, you know, this one here, I suppose will be the same as that one. But you know, you can. It doesn't have to. There's no rule. You don't have to make it, you know, always on the same side. Really, I just like to do that for mine. So just adding your graphite pencil. I'm going to turn my tile again and approach it from this direction. Little circles, just adding a little bit of graphite here and there. All on the same side. And I think you can already see that that is looking pretty cool, I think. Let's pick up our tortillon and just go over that. So just bringing that graphite into the paper and softening the edge, and you can see how it starts to make it look rounded. Now if you were doing this on a tile of a different colour, you could add some highlights to the opposite side of your shade, and that would be a really effective way of making these little creatures look 3D. They look really, really cool. I think you might be able to, you know, play with this one as well. Like if you wanted to put an orb instead of a little ink dot, then you could absolutely do that. See what you feel like, you know, have a little explore and see how you can make it look different. You could probably add a shine break as well if you wanted to do that. So just sort of, rather than drawing a continuous C shape, just add a little break in the same place along your line for each one, and it would give it a different look as well. But I'm just blending this graphite, so pressing down slightly more firmly in the corner on the side where the graphite is been placed in the first place, and then so just pressing it down here and then making some little circles and lifting the pressure slightly as I blend and soften that graphite as it's moving into the space. And there you have it. I really love this tangle. I think it looks really cool. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. This is Indyrella.